Professor Chan, good evening to you. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm looking forward to go beyond the virtual hug and into seeing you soon, I hope, my friend.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening.
Yes, alaikum assalam. Yes, I ask you a question. How is education going to change in this next year and in this next decade? We're seeing it change at the K through 12, but the university level as well. What are you thinking about? I mean, this has come as a sudden, shock to most all educational systems. Give us your wisdom and your thoughts.
Yeah. Before I talk about the education and university, I would say this is what I call a Sputnik moment for humanity. Yes. People of our age remember Sputnik. Sort of the Russia Sputnik shocked the U.S. U.S. scramble led to the space program, investment in science, but also a lot of innovation, a lot of industry, and so on. I think this pandemic will be the Sputnik for all of humanity. It will lead to innovation with a lot of investment opportunity, I'm sure. Now, for universities, I think after this pandemic, university will never be the same again. We talk about using online education with MOOCs, and all that. And when I was president of my previous university, we were the first in Asia to do this. But it never really took off and changed fundamentally the university. But I think this one is different because all universities were forced into putting everything online. Same thing here. Overnight, literally overnight, we had to put everything online. Students, whether they like it or not, had to do it. Faculty had to do it. So now I cannot imagine that after this, we'll just go back to where we were. I mean, should we? I mean, that's the question. Even if we could, we should. People talk about, should we now do exams in a different way? That's a big issue in university. How to do exam remotely? In fact, more fundamental, how do you do laboratories, right? Online, it's not so easy. But that's where innovation can come in. In fact, I think there are some people who are looking at how do you do most of the labs, the experiments online by using remote control, automation, robotics, and so on. And I think the more even fundamental, longer term thing is the way some faculty look at research. It's a little bit fundamentally changed, I think. Because, like, for example, at House, we have many faculty. They are not in virus or, infectious disease research to try to contribute to this fight. They are not trying to publish the next paper. They are trying to have impact on humanity.
Yes.
It's
incredible
of FII.
Yeah. It's an incredible period of creativity. I know for myself, I've never been more on fire than now. I assume that is for yourself and for the faculty and students. How do we harness that? And is that, is there something special going on right now? This is a Sputnik moment. I love that. What are your thoughts about harnessing the creativity to solve this, but to make us more resilient as a world?
Yeah, I want to go back. Of course, you can have more investment. You can have more incentives. And universities are all trying to do that. But I think the key thing is, I think there's a fundamental shift in people's sense of value and purpose. I mean, I look around, for example, people are looking at, should I value life or livelihood? Right? Should I worry about societal good or individual freedom? Should I worry, nationalism versus globalization? All these touch on university. So I think there's a fundamental shift going on there. So we should, as a university leader, we have to somehow capture that. Now, being more, practical, I think we need to have some resources directed in the right way with the right incentive. For example, I would say in the investment sector, when people try to pick, investment, they have to incentivize the talent, the brain to be focused on this area, which may not pay off financially immediately, right? So the profit motive by itself is not enough. So for example, FII or impact on humanity, maybe there should be a ROI, the return on investment, that takes into account the impact on humanity rather than just financial impact. I think we need to have
I
a
love that.
program that organize it. Yeah.
I love that
That I
idea.
think is what we have to do. You cannot force people. At university, university, president just serve the fact, we're not.
Well, Professor Chan, I wish you the best of luck with this. I mean, and to create something extraordinary. I'm sorry for having to cut off our short 5 minutes, but thank you for joining us.